So the last area I want to talk about is social communication and engagement. And as a speech pathologist, when I talk about this, I mean the ability to communicate with people, engage, play, live in a classroom day to day with others, teachers, and your classroom peers as well. Children might need some support or benefit from some help in this area if they have difficulties kind of playing, talking with others. Maybe it's hard at the moment for them to ask for help, and we can help that at home as well.
I think, Tess, you touched really on a point that I wanted to make around, play, and play being such an important skill for our kids to have, because kids learn through play, like their primary occupation, learning about the world around them and how to explore that, which, slides a little bit more into that OT perspective there. So, when children play, they're practicing those important skills like taking turns, solving problems, using their hands and their bodies, exploring emotions even, if there's a bit of conflict or negotiation needing to happen, and just being able to use their imagination and come up with, all of those cool, crazy, creative ideas that we see them do. So while we know that all kinds of play, it is super important, and play can look different depending on, what the child's level is at and what their interests are, there are some things that we can be looking out for just, to see if we do need to reach out for some extra help or some extra support. So things like if you're noticing your child having trouble coming up with ideas, they're playing the same games over and over again, they've got lots of recurring themes, even having trouble or difficulty with turn taking, so your turn, my turn, the next person's turn, or cooperating and negotiating with others, resulting sometimes in those big emotions which they feel really big for our kids, but how can we support them to navigate those a bit easier, and even having difficulty with problem solving. So there's a problem coming up in the play, being able to problem solve that on the spot and move through the situation, I think.
Yeah, and I think the point you're making about problem solving, Ash, like the language that we use when we solve problems is sort of different sorts of language than we use to comment or things or ask questions, and sometimes that sort of language, like giving an opinion to solve your problem. You want to do this, but I actually want to have a fairy castle. Being able to model those sorts of sentences for kids is what's going to help them to use them when they need it.